Okay, so I think we might be live. We are here today with Free Spirit Fabrics. We are here and on our Inspired By, our weekly Inspired By program. And we have Ann Hammel with us today from American Quilter. And I'm just going to wait until I see that more people are coming on and that my peers let me know that we are in fact live today. We're very excited to have Ann with us today, and we thank you all for joining us. We're very excited to hear all of the things that Ann has to share with us. And I've just been told that we're live, so that's good news. So welcome everybody. I'm Sharon Thornton with Free Spirit Fabrics. If you have any questions about Free Spirit Fabrics, please visit us on our website. We're freespiritfabrics.com. You can go in there and you can look at all of our beautiful fabrics, and you can look up all of the projects that we have available for you to make and create, and hopefully we inspire you to make something. So please send us a bunch of likes, a bunch of hearts now if you'd like, or as the program goes on, as Ann tells us wonderful tips and interesting information about American Quilter. And, just let us know that you're out there. If you have any questions, just send them through. I will be looking at our Facebook feed to see if there are any questions that we can answer along the way for you. We're all excited that you're here today. And this will be posted on our Facebook Live after this. It will be posted. We're live now, and then it will be posted afterwards. It will also go to our Instagram, and it will also go to YouTube. So you have multiple opportunities to view and review today's episode of Inspired By. So with that, I would again like to welcome everybody, and I would like to turn us over to Ann Hammel. Now, Ann is the editor-in-chief for American Quilter magazine. So Ann, I am going to change the spotlight to you, and we welcome you, and we're very excited that you're here today.
Thank you, Sharon. It's wonderful to be here. I mostly have known Sharon through quilt market experiences when we get together and look at all the really wonderful Free Spirit fabrics and talk about inspiration. There's a world of inspiration when you get to look at all the fabrics, and especially when you've got Sharon as a guide.
Thank you, Ann.
As Sharon said, I'm the editor-in-chief of American Quilter magazine, and American Quilter magazine is the membership magazine for American Quilter Society. And you may know American Quilter Society better as the people who put on Quilt Week events. That would be, for instance, the big Paducah show and others throughout the country. So it's really a great experience to work here. I've been the editor of AQ for about 4 years, a little over 4 years, starting in the middle of 2016. And it seems like yesterday, really. Every issue cycle just flies by, it seems like. But I started with the November 2016 issue. Prior to that, I was a creative writer here for AQS. I found this job actually by, I was looking for tickets for the Quilt Week event back in 2013. And I noticed that they had job opportunities on the page, and the rest is history. I followed up on a job opportunity and ended up working there a few months later. Or working here, excuse me, because I am right now in our office, in our studio, and it's a wonderful group of people. You can't beat it. Before that, I was a development researcher, and I was a grant writer, and even before that, I was a legal secretary. So I've got a lot of different experiences, but this is the best one so far.
Well, that's awesome, Ann. Hey, Ann, I forgot to say, I forgot to tell the viewers the quilt that was behind me. I'll tell them about that in a moment, but before we get started, as you continue, could you tell them a little bit about the quilt behind you? And we'd also like to hear about your shirt.
Oh, yeah, okay. The quilt behind me is mineral rolling star. Almost got them switched around. It is in our latest issue of American Quilter. You will have either, if you are a AQS member, you will have either just gotten it or you will be getting it very soon. And it's also available digitally and for sale at shopaqs.com. The pattern is there. This is a pattern that I kind of developed from the old Rolling Star block. And then Marge Ryan, who is our wonderful pattern editor, wrote up one of our wonderful pattern editors. She wrote up the pattern, and then Judy Madsen of Green Fairy Quilts quilted it. And it's just a really, it was fun to do. It's fun to have a quilt in the magazine, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk about today.
Oh, so I jumped the gun a little, so I'm
No, it's
sorry.
But I'll pull it up. I think I'll be able to do that. I'll pull it up a little bit so you can see some of the quilting. Judy Madsen is a fabulous quilter.
That's awesome. Well, we'd like to see it closer if we definitely can, but I'd just like to let the viewers know. So that's the mineral collection from William Morris. So we have a lot of William Morris fabrics here at FreeSpirit Fabrics. And I just want to, point out that that is from our mineral collection. Those are SKUs that we continue on with, and look at how beautiful they look sitting right behind Ann. And Ann, also, tell us a little bit about your top. Ann made this top special for today.
I did, because Sharon and I were just kind of joking around, and I said, well, I could make a new top for the show, because who doesn't want a new top or a reason to make one?
Right.
And Sharon
I inspired you. Yes,
you totally inspired me. And Sharon sent me some of the new Kaif shot cotton. This is, I believe, the sunflower color.
Yes, that's the sunflower.
And I made a shirt that is, it's the Cali shirt dress pattern. I made it a shirt length. And it's got the long sleeve extensions from Closet Case, which is now Closet Core, but they've been known as Closet Case for a long time.
Wow, you
and
did a beautiful job.
Got enclosed placket, and
wow,
it's fun. It was fun to make. It's an easy make, really, and I love garment making as well as quilt making. So it's fun. And I love this color. I'm trying to become a little bit brighter with my wardrobe. Do you think I managed it?
Yes, you did. It looks great on you, though. So nice job on the top, Ann.
Thank you. As I was driving here today, I realized the color, I know that you call it sunflower, but I think maybe a more accurate description is striped down the middle of the highway. Yellow, because it's almost exactly the same.
Well, it looks great on you. You wear it well.
Thank you.
So, I think that's a great example of showing how K Facet's shot cottons can be worked in quilts, and they can also be worked in garments. And, that looks fabulous on you. It's draping nicely. And I think that, everybody, you can do it in garments, or you can do it in quilting or anything else. So that's great. You did a nice job, Ann.
Oh, thank you. And yes, I will say that as well. The drape of this and the feel of the shot cotton is just a little bit lighter than the quilting cotton, and it works up into garments wonderfully, really. So, take a look.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Thank you. I have a couple of hints for people that are garment making.
Well, we'd love to hear them.
One of those is French seams. Anytime you make something out of some kind of just a regular cotton, a quilting cotton, or this kind of fabric, I have found that I learned how to make French seams, and the world changed. It gives your clothing a look on the inside and a stability on the inside that sometimes our quilting cottons of any kind don't give us. Because it finishes the seams, and it's so easy. You simply, instead of stitching right sides together, you start wrong sides together with a tiny seam, and then you flip it to your right sides together and do another seam on top of that. And so then your seam allowance is totally enclosed. And
Yes.
it's so easy. It's just making another seam on top of the other one.
Yep.
So don't let the name scare you. I was scared to try it. I thought, oh, French seams, you know, it's a little more than I wanted to do, but it's something that I started using all the time.
I agree with you. I use a serger oftentimes when I do garment making, but if I'm in a situation where the serger isn't going to work, I do use a French seam because I agree with you. It's a nice finished seam on the inside. You don't have any raw edges that are then going to start fraying as you wash and wear your garment.
And another thing that I think quilters know, or they're beginning to know more about, but I don't know that garment sewers know so much, is to use glue. I've started using glue so often that I don't use hardly any pins.
I haven't even ever done that.
I have a really thin glue that is from precision piecing. It's called precision piecing glue from Acorn Products. And there may be others out there. This is the one that I happen to use. You can press your seams with this lightweight glue and it stays really tighter than your average glue. If you tried to glue something with a glue that you don't have to press, it wouldn't necessarily really give that solid effect, but like if you're trying to do Y seams, or I even used it like on this shirt hem, on the sides. Using glue is a fabulous addition to your technique repertoire whenever you're making garments or quilts. So those are my favorite two tips.
Yeah, no, those are great tips. I thank you for sharing them. Wait, somebody in here had asked a question. People are saying French seams are great. They were asking about when the shock cottons. The shock cottons are actually in stores now. For any of the viewers that are interested in Cape shock cottons, he has shock cotton solids and he has shock cotton stripes that are out in your local quilt store now. So if you are interested in any of Cape's shock cottons, and someone in here had asked, sorry, Ann, I'm going to take you off. Now, I think that when we're talking, I think it goes to me and then to you. I think we'll see what happens. But since I'm doing some talking here, I thought I'd take you off Spotlight video.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, there's a question in here asking about the definition of a shock cotton. So a shock cotton is woven, the warp and the weft have different threads. So the threads for the warp are one color and the threads on the weft are another color. And so that when they're woven, that's why it's called a shock cotton. And I'm not going to go as far as to talk about the weight because I'm not that well versed in that. And I don't know if you know a little bit more about that, but I do know it's primarily shock cotton because of the way it's woven with the warp and the weft. So anyways, I just like to let you guys know the answer to that, and love your tips on the garment making. I never even thought about using glue. So that's a great tip. I like that. I think about it for quilting, but not for garment making. So I like that a lot. So I'm going to put the spotlight back on Ann and let Ann continue on with sharing her information about American Quilter magazine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Inspiration has so much to do with all of quilting or garment sewing. For instance, the quilt that is behind me, the Mineral Rolling Star, I was sincerely inspired when I saw this fabric, and I thought, I really want to put this fabric in something and make a quilt, design a quilt. So I got into EQ and messed with it a little bit, and we decided that it was something that we could publish. I think I've been inspired by a lot of different things through the years. I started sewing, or I guess you'd say stitching, with my grandmother. My grandmother was a huge inspiration to my sewing life, with embroidery, cross stitches on gingham, that kind of thing. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And then there were mini skirts and bell bottoms, and I'm telling my age there, I guess. And then then after a few more years, it was little girl dresses. And if little girls don't inspire you, nothing will. And
Right.
there are so many fabrics that you wouldn't think of as being appropriate little girl fabrics, but a lot of the, say, for instance, some of the Cafe prints or Anna Maria Horner
Yes.
prints. I've had a really good time also making those for grandchildren. So it kind of moves on down the line. But
well, we'd love to hear that FreeSpirit inspires you personally.
Absolutely.
In many ways.
Absolutely.
Yes, we love that.
So I'll tell you a little bit more about AQS and the history behind AQS, just briefly. It started back in, technically, I guess, in 1984, when Meredith and Bill Schrader, they were book publishers. They had gone to a quilt show down in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, and they thought that the workmanship was wonderful and the quilts were beautiful, and the quilts had ribbons hanging on them. And they thought, why aren't these people winning actual prizes? So they pulled together their thoughts about this and they developed this group to give national recognition to quilters. Was its first idea. And they really started there setting the standard for the quilting industry. In the first year, they had 1,500 members, which is,
wow.
really, they really did get the word out there.
Yeah.
And the first AQS quilt show was held in 1985. And they definitely gave more than ribbons. And through the years, AQS has been able to promote the standard of quilting and promote the excellence in quilting by making it a contest that has some high stakes, thanks to our sponsors. So it's really a wonderful thing. There's also let me see, 1990, AQS started the first quilt museum in the United States, here in Paducah, right by the river. And it's absolutely a great destination location for any quilter. It's wonderful. They change different special quilter exhibits at different times, and it's really, really a beautiful place to go. But American Quilter Society started it. It was known as the Museum of the American Quilter Society. But then in 2008, the United States Congress designated it a not-for-profit museum, and it is now called the National Quilt Museum of the United States.
Wow.
So that was in 2008, and it's
pretty amazing.
Right downtown Paducah. And downtown Paducah is a very fun place to be if you ever have the opportunity to come to the museum, or especially to come to Quilt Week. It has cobblestone streets and great restaurants, and it's really one of those kind of historic riverside towns that people love to live here. And there's a lower town area that's really artsy, and there's a lot of art-inspired things that go on in Paducah. So come visit sometime.
I've never been, but I would love to come. So I'm going to have to put it on my docket for next year, because when everything opens up, right?
Oh yeah, I hope so. Let's hope.
Ian, I have a question for you. When you talk about the museum, would you say that there's an average amount of time that a certain exhibit stays, or does it vary by whatever the exhibit is?
I don't know the answer to that absolutely, but just judging from things that I've seen, I'd say things are there for easily 3 months, 3, 4 months. Yeah.
All right. So if you want to see it, you really got to get there. It's not like it comes in.
Yeah, you don't. It's not like a year at a time or anything.
Right. Okay.
You would, and their website would tell you what's
Right.
coming up and, how long it would be there.
Right. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's super, super good. So I
Yeah.
think I better start talking to you about some of the actual quilts that have, they were the inspiration, they were inspired by FreeSpirit and were the product of some of our favorite pattern makers for the magazine, for our authors. So I will flip over to screen share for that. And pardon me, but it takes a minute, but hopefully not.
We're excited to see.
Okay, this one is from the very first issue that I had. It is called La Belle Epoque, and it was created by Lori Allison, who some of you might know, in November 2016. It's got applique and piecing. You can see the nice big half square triangles, but then the applique in the center looks great. Also in that issue, the first issue that I did, were an interview with Kay Fassett and an article about Brandon Mabley. They were both written by Sue Fenwick. So that's a good issue to look back on. I want to tell you more about how you can do that shortly. This one is called Stars of the Show by Stacy Day. Was it Tula's Stars? Was that the name of it, of the fabric line?
Oh gosh, Ian, now you're really testing me.
It was also 2018, which seems like forever ago.
Yes,
But,
Tula Pink. I don't know. Nancy Jules is answering a lot of questions for Free Spirit Fabrics. All Stars. That's what this was.
That's
so
it. All
Tula
Stars.
Pink,
I thought it was something with stars in it.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it's got a lot of fussy cut pieces in the centers of these stars, and it's a very fun quilt. So that was in May of 2018. Moving along, this is not technically the Free Spirit fabrics that you have now, of course, but Jane Sassaman is such an inspiration, and now you carry the Jane Sassaman fabrics. So I'm just thrilled that we had the opportunity to put this on a cover back in 2018.
Yes, we love Jane Sassaman. She does some beautiful lines.
Yeah. And, here's some more inspiration that was in that issue, and even more. I don't know how she does it. She's got an eye for the curves and the beautiful colors. That is amazing. Really wonderful.
Color and design is very strong. It's beautiful.
Another quilter that we got to know was Kiko Goki. I'm saying that right, correctly?
Yeah, Kiko Goki, yep.
Okay. This was a article that we had about a quilting adventure with Kiko. She talked to us a little bit about herself and about her fabric line, which was one that you carried, a collection that you carried. And while this particular quilt was not in the magazine, I mean, the picture of the quilt is in the magazine, the pattern is not, but she did talk about how she made that quilt, and there it is on the front of a Jeep on the cover.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That was the January 2019 issue. But she talked about how she could take a shape and how she played with her fabric. So a lot of that article had to do with how she basically improvised her quilts, and it was fascinating. I really enjoyed that. She has some really outstanding prints.
Yes, I think that collection was called Step by Step, and I think that was the first collection that she introduced with us. And that shot, Ann, I find very interesting, that the quilt is keeping the car warm.
Yes. Yes. So, well, that's what quilts do, right?
That's right. They keep everybody warm. But I'd like to let viewers know that Keiko still designs fabric for us, and she's had subsequent collections from that first one as well. So if they're interested in looking, we still have Keiko Goki is still a designer with Free Spirit Fabrics.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. I'd like to look at those too. This one is the name of it is Medusa Zoa, and it was designed by Emily Cross. Emily put together some of the Tula Zuma collection for this one.
Yes.
And it was a big hit.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very nicely done.
And then we had Pinkertown, which was by Stacy Day.
I remember this one.
Pinkerville by Tula.
Right.
Pink again was the collection, and we thought it would look good over a pink bench.
Yes, so, it's very beautiful. So the name of the quilt is Pinkertown, done in Tula Pinks, Pinkerville. Very nice. I love that play on words.
And it also has Tula's designer essential solids in there, I believe.
Yes, yes.
And it was peaceful. And Stacy did another wonderful job. You'll notice that Stacy has a lot of ideas with Tula inspiration behind them. She really likes working with Tula, and we like working with Stacy, so it works out.
We do too.
And here's another one by Stacy. It's called Monkey's Lunch. That would have been with the Monkey Wrench, Tula's Monkey Wrench collection.
Exactly. That looks great.
And yes, this is not a photoshopped picture. This is actually this actually is a gorilla that is in a kids park near here.
Oh,
they actually took the quilt and put it on the gorilla. So
very smart. I like that. Perfect for the quilt. Oh, this one's pretty.
So I'm moving on into 2020 quilts here, but that one was January 2020. This is an English paper piece quilt by Kim Martucci and Nisha Burry, who you know maybe better as Brimfield Awakening.
Yes.
This was a shape. The actual shape of the template was just a kind of a curved piece that fit into each other to make these bowls, and then you applique them onto the background, and it has lots of potential for a lot of different uses. And we were the only carrier of that particular template that was made by Paper Pieces for this particular quilt. So
that's beautiful. It's very, I like the presentation of it. It's very clean. It's very modern. They did a nice job with that. And so those are the Cave fabrics in those.
Right.
I'm going to call them wreaths. Is that, they look like a.
It kind of looks like it. Right.
Wreath.
We called it, or they called it bread bowls.
Oh, bread bowls.
Because it kind of looks like pull apart bread, I think.
Oh, right. It does. Yep. Yep. That's fun. Beautiful quilt. They did a nice job.
And that was quilted by Teresa Silva. We find that Teresa Silva has quilted a lot of quilts too for magazines. Yes. And she does a beautiful job.
She does do a beautiful job.
So I'm going to stop for just a second and talk about submitting a quilt, because we talk about Stacy and we talk about, Emily Cross or Lori Allison or some of these people who have submitted quilts, and you might be wondering what they have to do to have a quilt in the magazine, and you might think it's beyond anything that you could possibly do, but that's absolutely not true. In fact, if you would like to just talk about a potential idea, you can send an email to magazine@americanquilter.com. And I will be happy to talk you through any of the submission process, or just to talk over an idea that you might have to see if it's worth pursuing. We do have, within our process is built in, however, once you submit, we go through a submission, an article committee, so that you just don't automatically get to have your quilt in the magazine because you submit it, but you do have to be chosen. But in order to do that, we accept submissions all year round. We don't accept things that are previously published. So even if you've been selling it on your website, well, we like to keep things original at AQ. So like I said, you can talk to me about it. I'll be happy to answer your questions. If you submit, you need to submit on a legible paper, a typed copy with your instructions. And while at this point, we don't require people to have the quilt already made up, but if it's a quilt that you have already made up, we will be eventually, if it is accepted, we will be asking for the quilt. So if you think it shows itself off better made up, you can send photos, not the actual quilt, but you can send photos in the beginning of the actual quilt.
And could I just ask you a question?
Sure.
So in regard to the submission, so if somebody wants to submit to you, I know that you said, where would they send it again? What's the
email address is magazine@americanquilter.com.
Okay. So if somebody's interested in submitting a piece, would you say they could submit it virtually as well as
absolutely.
that they've already created? But stipulation is primarily that it had not been previously shown in any other magazine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Or published on their website. If it's a self-published pattern that people have already bought, we don't use those either.
Okay.
But yes, a virtual, a diagram, an EQ representation is fine. We are mostly interested in knowing how would you put that quilt together and can you write instructions and that kind of thing. Because while we do have pattern editors and they change things, but we do like to have something to start with. I know that there are some magazines who take a design from scratch and create the patterns that way, and that's just not how we do it. So we do need to have something to go by. So any images that you want to send, you can send construction images, drawn or photos, and all of your information. And if you can go to americanquilter.com, the second tab from the left is American Quilter Magazine. And if you do the drop down on that tab, you will find submission guidelines. So you can click on that and get a copy of your own, but lots more details, but I think the point that I'm trying to make is that it's not so hard. And as long as you're introducing something that's fairly unique, it will be quite possibly a big hit. Partial submissions aren't considered, and it might take a while before we get back to you, but please do go download a copy of the submissions information, and I think that you will find it easy to at least get the ball rolling.
Easier than one might think.
Easier than one might think. Don't be afraid, because we are not scary.
Okay. Well, I know you're not scary. And when you say no partial submissions, do you mean that don't just send a photograph of the quilt or a virtual image? You also want us to have some information about the instructions. Do you want full instructions at that time, or do you want just kind of an outline of the intentions of how the quilt would be assembled?
It's good to have the full thing already written. Again, it's something that we could discuss if there is some reason that wouldn't work out. Okay. We'd be able to, but yes, we want the person to have put in a reasonable amount of effort before we go to the trouble of looking at it and having it go through the committee, because we want to make sure that it's going to be a completed quilt and instructions. Right.
Well, that's awesome. Maybe I'll come up with a design and submit it.
Well, you can. That would be great.
And maybe I will one day. I'll put myself under another name and I'll send it in.
You've got a lot of fabric to choose from.
That's right. I have a lot of things to inspire me.
I've got some more quilts to show you. Unless
we'd love
somebody has any more questions about submissions.
Let me see. I'm looking through. I don't see any other questions that we haven't already asked about. Yeah, no more. I don't see any other questions, but I don't get to see all the questions exactly just
Oh,
yet
I
either.
understand. You know, another thing that I will tell you is that if you get a copy of our magazine, for instance, this is the one that just came out.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, look, the color. I'm like,
Oh, look at that.
this
Oh,
is
look at
one I'm going
that.
to be showing you shortly. But if you look at the instructions as we have them in the magazine, you know, get yourself a copy so you know what we expect.
Right.
We have, generally there are, you know, you list materials, you tell how to cut, you know, in a list form, and then you, through text and diagrams, tell about how to make the quilt.
Right. That's awesome.
So I was going to get back to some more pictures.
Yes, we would love to see that.
And we ended on this one, I think.
Yes, we did.
This one is one of my favorites. It's by Katie Pasquini Massapust, who just does the most artful designs. And she submitted this one. It's called Cabins Askew. And it is from her Color Labyrinth collection, which was her collection from last spring, I believe.
I think so. I'm trying to remember now. I don't remember exactly when the collection released, but
right. And I think she's got a new one for you now too.
yes,
So
she does. She has a new one that's going to be shipping in November.
yeah. So Katie does some really fun designs, and this is based on a wonky log cabin. You can see you know, it's only 16 log cabin blocks, but it turns out a really artistic quilt. And our September cover was Sue Penn's Light in the Forest. And this was a very fun quilt. She had a panel with her collection that was really nicely colored, and she made this pattern for us. And we had it as a kit. I don't know that we have all of the parts of the kit anymore. So we'll have to find out if we can get some more fabric on that one.
Yes, it's
Sometimes,
beautiful.
yeah, I think fabrics just in general these days seem to be going fast. Everybody that I talk to says they're trying to find things and trying to get more. And I think people being at home quilting has done great things for the quilting industry.
It sure has. I think that, you know, with people stuck, not traveling as much, people are doing a lot of the handcrafts again, which I think has been great for the sewing industry. So, I'm very excited that people have come back to their kits and projects and, quilting and clothing, etc. So
right.
That's a beautiful quilt. Sue Penn has some gorgeous collections that she's designed for us, and that's an example of a beautiful one.
Yes, she does, most definitely. This is the one that is behind me, as it is portrayed in the magazine this time.
Wow, beautiful.
Let me see if I can. Whoa.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
Look
can
at
really see the
quilting.
quilting.
Isn't that fabulous? I just love it.
Teresa Silver did that?
No, this is Judy Madsen of Great
right.
Quilts.
You said that earlier. That's beautiful work.
Yeah, she does a really beautiful job. And
very nice.
I was thrilled to have her do this one.
Wow. Very, very nice. She's very talented. I'm glad you zoomed in on that, Ann.
I guess I should have done that on others along the way.
That's okay. Yeah, but it really showed up nicely in that. Oh, that's a pretty one.
And this one is in the November issue that you've just received as well, if you're a member. It uses a variety of Tula Pink fabrics. Stacy said it was, let's see if I can.
Believe that's Tula's True Colors.
I think it has a lot of true colors, but I think she all said there were some others from her stash. in here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you could use a lot of different things in this quilt. She took a wedding ring, a double wedding ring, and manipulated it. It's really a fabulous quilt.
It's
Love
beautiful.
it so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very nice.
and it is a foundation paper pieced quilt. So it is not, again, not quite as hard as you might think. I like to impress people with, it's not so hard. Don't worry. Don't be scared. So it's doable, I guess is
Yeah. Yes, that's a gorgeous quilt.
And we have some kits available for anybody who's looking for a put together assortment that's already ready for them.
Right.
Have,
Project ready to go, right? You just
projects are ready to go at
Yep.
shopaqs.com. I don't know if people realize what it's one of the benefits of becoming a member of AQS is that you get 20% off all the time at Shop AQS. But also until the end of this month, we have an additional 10% off on these kits plus almost 100 fabrics, FreeSpirit fabrics.
Wow.
On at shopaqs.com.
Wow.
There will be a link on our website or on the Shop AQS website to be able to link to all these, look through them. So it's a good deal if you can get the 10% off for anybody, but it's even better if it's an additional 20% if you're a member. We have
Right.
like
So,
buttons.
So, Ann, if we could just talk about these quilts on this page just quickly. So I know the one in the upper left-hand corner, that's from one of our collections called Stratosphere.
Uh-huh.
And I know that the one on the right is Festive Jewel. That's a K facet piece.
Right.
The one on the bottom left is Tula Pink. That's the homemade collection.
Mm-hmm. Called Tula Spools, I think, or something like that.
Tools of Love, I think it might be called. And then the one on the bottom right is not Scion, that is Cashmere. The
right.
collection is called Cashmere. That's a very pretty quilt. Love that collection. Very pretty.
Yes, this has some really beautiful fabrics. I love those. Really
Yes,
nice.
I do too. Very nice. They all work so pretty together. Love those kits.
Something else that I wanted to talk about just a little bit is what happens, say you get a pattern approved by our committee that it's going to be in the magazine. What happens then? Because people kind of, they just don't really know what happens, and we don't talk to them for a few more months, and and suddenly we're asking them to approve it. Well, first of all, it goes on the calendar, and you would get a deadline date and a contract. You would need to get the quilt and the pattern to us by that deadline. The quilt needs to come to us because we do special photography here in our studio for the particular quilts that go into the magazine, so that they, they're really, really high definition photos and always straight. We take them on the wall rather than what somebody might. When an individual takes a picture of a quilt, sometimes it's at an angle or something and kind of, goes a little wonky. It's really great for us to be able to do them in-house, because then we can do close-ups and really enhance the article a lot better. Our pattern editors go to work. We've got 2 wonderful pattern editors that are working all the time on our, every issue gets done, and then the next one they're already starting. And we have a technical editor that goes over those, making sure that all of the details are absolutely right. I go over them 2 or 3 times a piece. A proofreader reads it. I've had people say, do you not have a proofreader? Well, that always kind of hurts, because yes, we have editors and proofreaders, and we try our hardest, and every once in a while a little thing will slip up. Very rarely though. We've had very, very few corrections in our lifespan as American Quilter magazine. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about that. Everybody works together to get the job done, and we've got a wonderful art department, designers who do a really, really good job with the magazine. So I'm really proud of them.
You have a wonderful magazine, Ann. You should be very proud. You guys do a great job.
Thank
Issue
you.
after issue, they look fantastic. So you've got great team, a lot of people working really hard, and it shows.
Right. Thank you. I agree. I agree that the team is the best. They make me happy every time. Now, if anybody would like, if you liked some of those patterns that you have just seen, and you think, well, it was from 4 years ago, I don't know that I can get that anymore. It is possible, first of all, to go to Shop AQS and look for that issue and see if we still have some in stock, because we do have a lot of back stock of the magazines. But we also, if you join AQS, American Quilter Society, there is an amazing deal going on right now where for $20, it's normally $25, but for $20, you get a membership. You get a $20 gift coupon for Shop AQS. So you get your money back right away. Plus you get a free gift and a free pattern. So there's all kinds of reasons to join
Exactly.
AQS right now.
Yeah.
And there are also other things that are bonuses for being a member. You can you get 20% off at our iquilt.com, savings at Quilt Week shows, and lots of other things that you can also read about those things and join if you go to the same location that I mentioned before, to americanquilter.com. And if you go to the second tab over, the American Quilter magazine, if you click where it says renew, for not just renewals, but you can, the renew button will take you to the specials, to the big special location where you can sign up to be a member. But when you join, you get archived patterns. You get access to those from since 2013.
Wow. That's
All the patterns that we have done since
yes,
2013.
yes. That's
Can be
awesome.
yours. So you get a hold of your FreeSpirit fabrics and go get the patterns, and
That's right.
you can make them look just like they did in the pictures.
Exactly. Or recreate them with new collections. So
Oh, true. Very true.
right. Yeah, exactly. So, Ian, there's been a couple of questions. There was a question that if somebody submitted to the magazine and if they were looking for fabric, if they were to be accepted, if somebody submitted to American Quilter and their pattern was accepted and they were looking for the fabrics, provided that they were current fabrics, they can reach out to FreeSpirit Fabric. And if we have the fabric available, we will supply the maker with the fabric. So I just want to let viewers know that, because that was a question that was asked.
And that's wonderful. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, well, we're happy to do that, and we thank you guys for picking up a lot of the quilts and inspiration that have been created out there by FreeSpirit. We love that you guys do that. We have some really positive comments on here, Ann, where people are like, if you're not a member, you should be. So
good.
Right, and you've just given us many more incentives for reasons that they should be. So that's a great thing too.
Well, we love the inspiration that we get from you as a fabric company, and our designers do too. And we know that to look through the pages, you get all kinds of ideas, and it's so fun.
Yes,
in general, it's just fun.
It is. Quilting's great. Creating's great. It's all great. So I think that there's a couple of, I never talked about the quilt behind me. So yes, I forgot to mention it earlier. Normally I always mention it in the beginning. So the name of the quilt behind me is called Horizons. And this quilt is made out of the same fabric line that's behind Ian. And this is the Mineral Collection from William Morris. And this particular pattern was designed by Tammy Silvers. And it was also made by Tammy, I believe, unless she had a maker make it. And I apologize, I don't know otherwise. So I'm going to credit Tammy here. But Tammy, this is Horizons Quilt by Tammy Silvers. And you can find her pattern at tamarinis.com. So if you're interested in making this, and if you're interested in the fabrics, of course, come to go to your local quilt shop, see if they have the fabrics, to, if you'd like to make it, or ask them to call in the fabrics, because this mineral collection we are moving forward with. This is a collection that we've committed to keep in our inventory because it's been so popular. So, Ann, you've got a great one sitting behind you. I've got a beautiful one sitting behind.
Yes.
And it just shows.
Mine is a kit. I think we have to complete our fabrics before we have it available for immediate delivery.
Right.
But that is a kit that we offer, and actually the one behind you that we do too, I believe. So.
Oh, well, they're both gorgeous quilts, look entirely different, same collection. So it just goes to show, you know, it's all about how you just put it together and how beautiful the pieces can become. And were there any other things that you wanted to cover for today?
I think that's all that I had.
You covered a lot. I just didn't want to, you know, assume that there wasn't more to cover before we wrapped up today. So what else did I wanted to thank Ann for, I know we have a giveaway, so I'm not going to forget that. But Ann, I would like to thank you for joining us today. It's been great. Thank you for sharing the history of American Quilter, and, you know, some of the history of Paducah, as well as the magazine and the American Quilter Society, and then how to submit to your magazine. We strongly encourage everybody, you know, if you've got some ideas and you have the means and the ability to submit, by all means do. They would love to see your ideas, and, you know, if it's made out of FreeSpirit fabrics and if we're able to help supply the fabric, we would be happy to. That's only if you're picked for the magazine. So the question that we have I wanted to ask was, what was the first year AQ magazine first published? Did I say that correctly, Ann?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we know the answer. Thank you, Ann.
Maybe someone has one. You know, people keep stacks of magazines around for a very long time.
Yes, they might very well. So there will be 5 winners this week. So what I wanted to let everybody know is, if you know the answer to the first year American Quilter magazine published, Ann is giving away 2 memberships.
Correct.
Is that correct, Ann?
That's right. I'll just need to get your name and address, and, you know, little bit of information, and be happy to give two separate memberships.
Great. And then FreeSpirit Fabrics is going to give away 3 fat quarter packs. So for a total of 5 winners this week. So our fat quarter packs are going to be a collection from Mineral, the fabrics that are behind Ann and I. We're going to give away some CAFE and some Tula. And as Ann said, they're going to give away 2 memberships. So that's fantastic. Thank you, Ann.
Wonderful. Well, thank you too for adding to that and for having me here.
Well, we were thrilled to have you today. So I would like to close out today, again, thanking Ann for being here. We appreciate it very, very much. I've enjoyed working with you over the years, and we enjoy everything that you guys do. And like I already said, your magazine is spot on. You guys keep it current, you keep it modern, and, you know, it's always the thrill to open the magazine. Certainly when FreeSpirit is in it, but obviously other times as well. We really enjoy your magazine. And thank you for being with us today. I would like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. We are here every Thursday at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come back to us every week. Next week, we have something exciting coming. We'll start to promote that soon. And I'd like to thank Nancy Jewell, who was on today, and she was answering a lot of questions. And I'd like to thank everybody from the FreeSpirit team that always helps every single week. You know, Sarah gets the samples, and we'll get in touch with you that way. We will pick who the winners are, and then we will get in touch with you and let you know who they are and with their addresses. Okay. So Sarah helps, and Lindsay helps, and Nancy helps, and everybody's behind the scenes working, and we thank everybody for all of their help every week. And again, Ann, thank you for being with us this week. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you for all the inspiration that you provide. It's to everybody. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you. We work hard and we are always trying to motivate people to sew. So we hope that we do that.
We
And
do
I
too.
know our designers do for sure. They're a fantastic group of designers. So thank you. It was great having you. And I look forward to seeing you at hopefully a future, well, Zoom call certainly, but hopefully at a quilt market at some time in the near future.
I hope so.
All
You take
righty.
care.
Thank you. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.